Excited to have you online for the discussion on virtual court proceedings in Nigeria, its prospects and challenges. I am Hannatu Dauda Simon, working with the Ministry of Justice, Gombe. It is so evident that the world is currently experiencing disruptions in all sphere and in such dimension as it has never experienced. We cannot but agree that the COVID-19 pandemic has created an emergency lifestyle adjustment even for the legal world, that we do not have an option than to embrace what technology has to offer as solutions to our problems. Now, with the court activities currently on lockdown, denying the common man access to justice within a reasonable time, some states like the Lagos state and the Borno state brilliantly initiated the remote hearing so as to ensure that the common man has access to justice within a reasonable time. In this respect, the Senate introduced a bill proposal amendment of the 1999 Constitution to accommodate virtual court proceedings. And this same bill, as we all know, has to pass through the entire National Assembly. This same bill also has to pass through the 36 states houses of assembly. And we are talking about cost and time. Now, the question that comes to the mind is, do we really need the Constitution to be amended to accommodate virtual court proceedings? I have keenly listened to arguments for and against, and I have come to realize that it is rather good we concentrate on the possibilities rather than concentrating on the impediments, bearing in mind that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Now, you will agree with me that the way we practice law in Nigeria is considered to be old-fashioned. And for God's sake, this pandemic has created an opportunity for us to upgrade our way of practice so that we must not be clogged to our own legislation. So we must grow, we must adapt, because every desperate situation calls for desperate measures of adaptation. So if we really have the issue of having justice within a reasonable time on mind, then we shouldn't concentrate on trying to waste the whole time to amend the Constitution. Rather, it is better for each state to amend its practice direction to accommodate virtual court proceedings. Now, for those who cite Section 36, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution as altered as the unconstitutionality of virtual court hearing, are doing that in isolation. Because if that section has to be cited, then it must be interpreted alongside Section 36, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution, which seeks for fair hearing and within a reasonable time. So how do we protect the right of fair hearing if we cling to the issue of public hearing? It baffles me so much how the word public is used to replace the word physical, when these are two mutually exclusive words. Is there any place in the Constitution that defines public as physical? Or what really makes the courtroom physical, as long as the camera will be zoomed to take the participants online, which makes the online process the court itself? So I want you to know that even the dictionary meaning of public means a place where there are a lot of people who can see and can hear. And this video conferencing tool is coordinated in such a way that everything will be made public. The argument of lawyers, the judgment, the ruling, the adoption of addresses, everything will be made public. And some are citing example of cases, and one of the cases which caught my attention was what is that case? Ovilasu versus Ovilasu. So in that is a matrimonial case that was held in the chambers of the trial judge, And then at the end of it, the trial judge dissolved the marriage. On appeal, the Supreme Court allowed the appeal, set aside the judgment, and set the matter to start de novo. Now, we cannot use this case as an example to prove the unconstitutionality of virtual hearing, because the chambers of His Lordship is entirely a different thing from the court nor the public. Now, you will agree with me that the largest courts in Nigeria accommodate not more than 500 members of the public. And while all these platforms can accommodate thousands of people, so which mode is much more public? It is even disturbing that after going through the Constitution, I have not seen a place where virtual court proceeding is prohibited, and it is obsolete, and whatever is not prohibited is permitted. So we don't expect the Constitution to provide laws and regulation for every aspect of human life, because we cannot even predict what will happen tomorrow. And this is why the Constitution has not provided for the manner in which the legislative and executive arms of government will carry on its meeting. And that is why they are carrying on virtual meetings without amending the Constitution. So why must the judiciary amend its Constitution before having virtual court proceedings? Now, I realize that people put more emphasis